Hello, everyone. On behalf of CyberMinder, I welcome you all to this panel discussion. A little about CyberMinder. CyberMinder is an automated and continuous attack path and threat exposure discovery platform. Its continuous and automated approach ensures organizations stay proactive in managing their external attack surface, minimizing potential exposure to cyber threats. Cyberminder has been recognized for its outstanding contributions to the cybersecurity field, receiving prestigious awards that highlight its innovative approach and commitment to enhancing digital security. Moving on to the session we are here for, the topic of the panel discussion is exploitability in attack surface management, prevention, detection, and mitigation. The speakers for this discussion are Rajiv Nanwani, Global Information Security Director at BCG, Ambarish Kumar Singh, CISO at Godrej and Boyce, Sachin Kavalkar, CISO at Neomo, and Sudhir Kanumali, CTO at Cyberminder. This session will be moderated by Rajiv Nanwani. If you have any questions for the speaker, kindly put them in the Q&A box and we will address those questions towards the end of the discussion. I would request all the speakers to kindly introduce yourself in short before we move to the discussion. Now I will hand over the session to the moderator. Over to you, Rajiv.
Thank you, Nazia. I'm Rajiv Nanwani. I work with Boston Consulting Group in the Information Security Department. And maybe Sudhir, you can introduce yourself.
Hi, this is Sudhir Kanumali. I work as a Chief Technology Officer in CyberMinder.
Amrish.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Amrish Kumar Singh. I'm CISO for Godrej and Boyce Manufacturing Company Limited. Looking forward towards a very great discussion. Thank you.
Sachin.
Thank you so much, everyone. Very good morning, afternoon, evening, whichever part of world you are. I'm Sachin Kavalkar, a global CISO, head of cybersecurity and data privacy at Neomo. Last 20 years, I'm into this field and looking forward for a great session. And this is really a great topic, which is in much of demand now. Thank you.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. This is one topic which is attended by, I would say, all the companies because attack surface is something which everyone faces, and we have to make sure that our attack surface is completely protected. So let me move to Ambrish for the first question. So Ambrish, with multi-cloud coming in, I'm sure with on-prem, multi-cloud, and various types of places where we are having our applications hosted and all, I'm sure the attack surface has increased tremendously. So how are you addressing it in Godrej?
Yeah, so I'll keep it generic rather than very specific Godrej. So we all know that it's a manufacturing company, so a lot of legacy bit we are carrying. So a lot of on-premise application, but due to the need of digital transformation, need of the businesses, need of the customer, because probably businesses want to give a very probably great experience to the customer, right? So you want to use a lot of digital tools, which are probably possible once we move to cloud. Okay, so there is a transition from on-premise to cloud. A lot of things are happening on cloud. If you look at that one piece, second piece is look at the OT and IoT infrastructure. Okay, so probably businesses want to do a smart manufacturing. You want to do a predictive maintenance, predictive analysis. Correct. So data is going to the cloud. So so entire threat landscape is changing and changing very rapidly. And we have seen in the last 3-4 years. So the transition deployment of digital technology in last 3-4 years has been exponential as compared to if you look at last 8 to 10 years, right? And that's why probably we keep saying is that digital transformation and cybersecurity two sides of the same coin. If you probably do transformation, take 10 steps ahead without taking care of your threat landscape, probably you have to take 20 steps back because you probably may get breached because you do not have visibility of your attack surface, correct? And you're not doing probably if you're not able to do your due diligence while you're migrating your application, you're doing anything on cloud, how you're doing the assessment of the threat exposure. Okay, so if you're not doing holistically, probably things will be probably better for you at times. So I think we are looking at holistically. from on-premise to cloud, from IT to OT, application vulnerability management, inside out view, outside in view, so that we have 360-degree visibility is the key. Once you know what is happening, right, probably you'll able to take some steps to address uh, concerns what probably is coming out of this adoption of newest technologies. I'll pause for now.
Yeah, thanks, Ambrish. I think let me ask a related question to Sudhir. So, Sudhir, since he was mentioning about all the expansions and all, I'm sure you would be having some shadow IT in, I mean, your company. How are you addressing all these shadow IT? I mean, how are you able to identify those type of assets and how do you classify them and all? So, over to you.
Yeah, Raju. So the biggest challenges what we see in our company and many other companies is actually the third-party software components. Actually, today, so being the digital world, most of the developers, because I heads their community in my own organization. So we use a lot of third-party libraries, third-party APIs, third-party things, and we go, a lot of times when I want to save a lot of visiting cards, I use Canva. And so if I want to use an APIs effectively, I go to large APIs to do a little bit of a transactions here and there from the front end to back end. So knowingly or unknowingly, we are consuming a lot of software components actually. And 80% of the software components are open source. So this is exactly what the cyber attackers are focusing on. I'll give the best example is polyfill. Okay. A China-based attackers, they just like they hack the polyfill because polyfill is a two deployment types actually. You can deploy that polyfill libraries within your components. Otherwise, you can call that particular polyfill to a SaaS-based application actually. So then you can load that particular data within your architecture. So that's where the attackers have poisoned that particular SaaS based and they have started injecting malicious payloads into every call actually. So knowingly or unknowingly, the shadow IT, how the shadow IT is earlier, the shadow IT is like, hey, I don't know this asset. Hey, I don't know this server. I don't know this. But now shadow IT is grown such a way that it is no more beyond assets, our physical servers, our virtual servers. It is going beyond the software components. All these software components actually, so today or tomorrow or sometime they are becoming vulnerable. Even security companies, so let's say there are a lot of SIMs, open source SIMs are there. There are a lot of ASM tools. They're open source. That threat intelligence tools. They're open source threat intelligence tools are there. Recently you see there's one of the biggest hack that happened in cybersecurity is one of the ASM tool. They give a lot of freemium free SN account actually. So they got breached and 1.3 million data has got breached actually. So that's how. So we knowingly or unknowingly we're consuming a lot of. So how do we prevent is so we create a very strict rules and we always go the trainings with the employees. We always say don't use third party libraries unless until you don't know what it is. Actually, when you use any of the third party libraries or third party applications, and please declare it at least so that we will monitor them with our threat intelligence. Okay, if you don't declare those third-party applications so voluntarily, because now third-party is like 1.2 lakh third-party, libraries are there. How do I know which third-party has been using? It is very difficult for IT and security team to know all these things, and there's no technology exists to scan these things as of right now today. So it's the employees that has to contribute to the security. That's what I believe in.
So the one related question to cloud, I mean, there are companies in which there are various teams, and some team may straight away go and purchase a workspace and then start using it and build something and all without informing anyone in the organization. I mean, not taking security,
Exactly.
etc. How do you address those type of shadow ITs? Because those, I think, are something which are happening more in organizations.
Yeah. So predominantly we bring the visibility. So like we are writing a lot of correlation rules in the cloud center. So we are taking all the logs and we are bringing visibility. Every component that is, any new component that is coming up, and we're getting proper alerts and all those stuff. And this is taking a lot of time for us because there is no correlation rules available in the market. We have to write on our own, actually. So every time when we, somebody, everybody has an authorized, right? So today, so it is very difficult in the cloud environment to put, okay, you should not spin off a new VM and all those. So for a developer, I said that, if a developer can't spin off, a new VM, he cannot wait to IT to approve, because that will take a 2 days or 3 days time. It will impact their so development process, actually. So that's where we identifying the all the developers, sensitive people within the organization. We are writing a lot of correlation rules saying that when we are monitoring, actively monitoring their user activities within the cloud environment. So what they are doing it, what they are deploying it, and all those stuff. So visibility is the key here. If any company is missing visibility on the developers, I think so. Developers today, they are contributing 86% of the hacks. So the major hacks, actually, you see that 2023 and 2024 alone. So that entire threat landscape is shifting towards the developers. Earlier, it is like non-IT users. They usually the phishing, used to work. Now, it's everything towards the developers, because they are the one who's doing easy mistakes.
Amrish, you want to add something? Is
Yeah,
it
so
back?
I think Sudhir touched upon the technology part, probably, but we need to build a people tell people what they're supposed to not do, and plus build a process gates. What kind of
Correct.
gates we have at the right point. And then naturally, Sudhir said ki technology need to monitor because gates will fail, process will be broken. So because only technology probably will solve, but if you look at holistically, people process technology all together. Probably that is how we are addressing holistically.
Okay, such as I'll move to a completely different area. So you see a lot of AI applications, Gen AI, I mean Chat GPT, all those things coming up. They are completely adding a new landscape for the attack surface management, and there are so many security loopholes which are being identified in Gen AI, etc. So how are you addressing those? Because Gen AI is a different animal altogether, and it is causing a lot of problems in all the organizations.
Correct. It's a very nice question. Just wanted to add upon what Sudhir said, and even Amrish, I go to that, and probably along with the traditional way of doing, because ultimately when we say our the attack surface management, it is a discovery, analysis, prioritization, remediation, and continuous monitoring. So these are the phases of our ASM. There is another buzzword which is called as the external attack surface management, wherein we are monitoring the external facing assets, probably your the gateways or email gateways or the assets which are exposed to the external world. So these are the two parts. So in line with that, in addition to what the traditional way of discovery or a risk assessment or analysis, probably the software composition analysis. So in addition to what developers are doing, how they are doing, what are the toll gates which are available to make sure that what are the activities which they are doing getting monitored, and probably with the help of that, whether it has been tested, whether it is a right source of injections to our environment, and only upon the approvals it should be done. And before moving to any of your live environment, if you do a software composition analysis, SCA, which is in addition to your regular VAPTs, probably it will give you the high level overview that with the size of your source code, a bulky program or application or product hosted on a cloud, what are the free utilities, what are the libraries, what are the various components which are getting used, how they are at a current state, whether they are all the old legacy one or they are patched with the new things and they are secured one. So that is something, and there are a lot of good tools which are available which will help you to give you the complete visibility on the coding part. So that was just I wanted to add with what Sudhir says. So software composition, if you do along with VAPT, probably it will be a additional layer of assessment. Coming back to the Gen AI and the AI problem, now yes, it's a very right good question, and across all the conferences, it is now whether it is helpful it is good or a bad. So probably AI and Gen AI, this is something which is always of a discussion point. But I will feel it is definitely a good for all the organization, the way the rapidly we are moving into the digitalization, progressing towards automation, and then a lot of the new things which are coming. But again, the source, the basic, the principle of our attack surface management, it lies with what are your assets are. Now, whether it's your hardware assets, your software assets, no matter, but how they are exposed and what are the possible vulnerabilities associated with those, which will give you the complete visibility on how you are monitoring that. So that is all on the Gen AI and the AI part. Adoption of AI and Gen AI. Now, a lot of the free source are available, but have you identified those free sources, how they are getting integrated with your environment, what is the usability, what is the exposure of your data, have you classified your data basis upon the crown jewels of your the organization. And if we are aware about, as Sudhir has mentioned in the beginning only, Amrish as well, that visibility is a very very important parameter. Now, no matter whether you are using any of these external sources, but if you don't have a visibility, probably definitely it will uh, allow the external hackers or the community to inject in, and then it will be a bigger problem.
Okay, let me move on, Amrish, for you on the zero trust architecture. I think ZTNA and ZTA and all, I mean, these are discussed in various forums and all. So, have you implemented zero trust architecture, and how are you addressing uh, the access controls, etc.,
Sure, I
for
think
the
correct. So I think zero trust we have discussed a lot and we bit into the death type. Okay, for any discussion, probably this is the probably and today Gen AI in AI, right? So uh, before I get into the code question, probably what I strongly feel is, and probably I practice is the three, 4 pointers. One is I make an effort. I request probably we all are security professional to we should make an effort to reduce the attack surface, whatever the case could be. Okay, mainly the we should have continuous process of reducing external attack surface so exposure on internet goes down. I've seen personally so many applications were exposed on internet, and when we took it down, nobody asked any questions because it was done some years back and there was no use case, no more validity as on date. Okay. Similarly, you will have a bunch of other things which are exposed on internet, but probably you will not find why it is exposed on internet. Second thing is you should build a capability to protect your organization from known threats. Okay. So what are the known threats? And probably do have capability to protect your organization from known threats. Third thing is, do we have capability to at least detect the unknown threats? That is where the whole game is, right? Where AI is going to play a role, right? EDR, XDR, entire theory is based on that. And now to achieve all of this, the zero trust concept came, right? You're trusting, you're not, they know uh, 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 probably you're taking decision. If you look at zero trust framework, right? It is based on the various parameters, just in time access, correct? So we all probably, if you somebody says, "Can I implement a zero trust in Toto?" Probably I have not met anybody so far. We all are on the journey, right? Whatever we do today, we should think about how it is going to help me on my zero trust journey. Okay. Suppose assume I'm implementing access control, or I'm implementing XDR, EDR, whatever, maybe attack surface management. How it is going to help me in the entire journey? Is something I'm taking something probably I need to discard at later stage because a lot of because if you look at entire ecosystem based on the breed concept is little going away, fading away. Okay, a lot of consolidation is happening because those technology were never used to talk to each other, right? Based on the breed concepts. Now we need those technologies, firewall, EDR, XDR, cloud CSVM, CWH, attack surface, everything to talk to each other, give us the consolidated view and consolidated protection, which will probably feed into the zero trust platform. And that is where the AI is going to come and play a role of adaptive security. Okay, so that it is able to take a decision for the user based on the parameters he has at that point of time. Okay, if it feed too many data, probably a lot of too many false positive, etc., will happen, and probably achieving a zero trust will be always be a dream. That's why I have to keep hearing with a lot of people is machine learning, user behavior analysis, uh, power of AI should help us. OEM should probably work in this direction to help us to achieve the ultimate aim of zero trust. And that is what we are yet to see. We probably have not seen the real benefit of AI into cybersecurity. We are yet to see. Okay, I'm quite confident that next 2 3 years we will see uh, OEMs. Everybody is very bullish about using AI in the product. Even if you talk today, they say it's AI powered. If you go into deep dive, double click, you will find probably is doing a bit of it, nothing else. And they will say we have in roadmap. So we are yet to see. Probably my suggestion would be look at holistic view, what you do today, how it is going to help you in overall journey of zero trust, and you look at holistically. That's all I think. I'll
I
pause for now.
completely agree. I completely agree with you. AI has become like a buzzword. Everyone wants to use it. They may be using it to a very limited extent, but still they want to use it. So, okay, Sudhir, let me ask you an interesting point. I mean, the endpoints, they are going on increasing. If you go to any employee, they will be having a phone, a laptop, maybe an iPad, etc. And they want all of them to be enabled on the access control list, and they want to access all the company applications, etc., on multiple devices. So, I mean, there are many companies who would have implemented EDR, XDR, etc. Are these endpoints really coming under control, or I mean, we can have multiple breaches happening because of these multiple endpoints?
Yeah,
Over to you.
yeah. So first, I'll explain what Amrish said. AI is a big thing. So I just remember one. When I'm doing my research, actually, I got to know there is one hacker group, one adversary group based out of Siberia, actually. So they are building a model, actually. How they are building a model is, so they're building something called model exploitation. So what is model exploitation is all about is, let's say in AI, what is the base models that use predominantly? Okay, create a login screen. You try to create a login screen and you post it an image, so you'll give the code. So that's a model. How do we can poison that particular model? That's called model poisoning. So this is what exactly it is going on when the industry is going on using AI. So that's where the code now attackers also using the same thing. Okay, that the same code they are doing it. They know what is the loopholes is, and they're creating one more adversarial tool to create model pointing, and they're injecting towards it. And this is happening all across the layers. Let's say whether it is an Android applications or iOS applications or a web applications or things such like that. So as a companies, what usually we take a decisions is, let's say we have an laptops, we have a servers, everything under our control. We go and we put antiviruses, XDRs, EDRs, and we collect the logs and our reprint. What about personal devices? Okay, let's say in the personal devices, we all use Chromes actually. So in the Chrome, what's the biggest disadvantage the Chrome is, or the biggest advantage to with the Chrome is, whatever we are searching in our laptop, the Chrome, the same login in our personal devices, it will be synced, and it will be synced even our personal laptops as well. And what are the data you're saving into the Chrome? Let's say Chrome autosavers or autofillers and all those stuff, it is sharing. Just imagine when your personal laptop is got breached by any of your infostealer malwares or adware, something like that. Adequately, the companies, the crown jewels of the logins, those are going out actually. So that's why it's the security today is like, it is not about just looking at that devices that is under our control. So security is going beyond them. So we have to look each and every device that is connected to our employees, is connected to internet based upon and we have to do a relationship. We have to do a really a tabletop exercises how what is the relationship between our employee devices and how employee personal devices are connecting, what are their accessing gate and all those stuff. If the companies doesn't have that visibility, uh, knowingly or unknowingly, they are getting breached. Now, infostillers, malwares is like, so it's in the rise because of this virus situations. They are taking a lot of data out. We should have a security practice saying that, how do we monitor these, irrespective of whether we are looking into our devices or not. We have to look the entire internet, deep dark and surface web. We have to hunt for our devices. That is very important today.
Yeah, and I think I just add one liner what Sudhir said. In the zero trust, if you look at in true sense, it talks about any user from your user from any device from anywhere. He accessing decision will be taken based on the at that point of time what is his posture. Because boundaries are broken, right? Zero trust doesn't talk about your boundary, your network, or VPN. It's not there. It is vanishing. That's why I think Sudhir was talking about personal devices, etc. And we know that MDM and all, the MAM and all, they have got their own pros and cons. Correct?
Okay, Sachin, let me come back to a very basic problem which is there, which is related to patching. So, are patches getting implemented? I have seen in most of the companies, I mean, whatever are the critical patches or, uh, I mean, which can cause damage to the organization, they are just working on those. The medium and low vulnerabilities are not being addressed, and one day they become critical and high vulnerabilities. So, I mean, how are various companies addressing on the patching and maybe the asset criticality part? So, if you can divulge some information on that.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I guess the recent example, if you know, I don't want to take a name of that, but the shutdown which has happened in the last month, probably that was one of the big example of, and solar winds as well is another big example where the patching got failed, and because of some issue, probably I will not say that issue, but some issue which help, which has caused that major damage worldwide. So this is one of the
Right.
very important area where need to be looked into multiple parameters. Now patching, definitely yes, it needs to be, because these are basis upon the advisories and the risk which are there in the open air. Based upon that, those patches are tested and released by the OEMs. Now, when we really wanted to do a patching, it is a very bigger and a wider exercise. It is not just like, okay, something has come and you immediately implemented it. Now, where, what, how, understanding about that entire patch management as a process has to be well established. Now, when I say the process has to be established, it includes all the components of your patch management, starting from your assetization, starting from your now multiple types of assets, dependency on the internal asset, external asset, third party assets, wherever that water is flowing, you need to count it as an asset. Once you have identified that, definitely then you have a complete visibility that what are your assets which are under your control, where you really need to do a patching exercise. Now once we do that and we have the complete understanding about a patching, probably then the process comes in picture. Now a lot of the time, because of the old legacy system, hardware not supporting to that patch, or probably even most of the time I have seen the IT people, they get scared that if you apply a patch, whether it will work or not. And definitely you need to have a resiliency plan in place, you need to have a backup plan in place, you need to have a dr site readily available when you are doing this exercise. So that's why I said that it is a very detailed exercise. All the component needs to be looked into, the criticality of the patches, the severity of the patches, whether it's a standard the patch which is coming in or it's an emergency patch which is coming in, what is the asset register which you are maintaining, what is the visibility. And it's not only about like, okay, you have deployed to the asset, you should be confident about that, yes, the patch has been rolled out to every asset wherever it is applicable, because then only it makes a sense. And for that you need to have the complete visibility on your asset management, and then basis upon that you can have the patch testing, then the rollout. And even after rollout, do you have a complete continuous monitoring that how the patch is effective in your environment. Sometime I have seen there were some cases because of the patch update, there was a failure of your hardware and it started rebooting it. So definitely, if it's a production environment, you need to look into that. Yes, whether that patch is really, what is the criticality of the patch, where you are applying, how you are applying, and then do you have the resiliency plan in place to make sure that the patch has been successful. And even after implementation, you need to have a continuous monitoring of that patch, now how it is working, and then only probably it will help for which that patch has been particularly defined for. And in addition, we sometimes deploy a patch, but hardly few organizations, they really make the use of that patch, uh, analyzing the logs. So typically, whenever you are applying the logs, if you have the log analysis dashboards available before application and after application, do you see any difference into your attack surface? Do you see any the threats which are coming in? And that makes a sense that yes, your patch is really worth deploying it. So it's asset implementation, monitoring, and even after monitoring, do a detailed analysis about that patch that it is really making a sense to safeguard your organization.
So Sachin, I'll move to the completely other end. I mean, there was a time when a patch used to get released, and we used to have a lab in which we used to test the patch. And then, if in case it is working, we would put on a deployment, and then it is working, we put it on the production environment. These days, many companies I have seen are not even doing any testing, etc. So whatever patch is coming, it is automatically pushed on to the applications, whether it is production, test, etc. The recent incident was primarily related to that, that many of the companies were not doing all these lab testing, etc., and they were just pushing it. So I have seen the other end of these patch management as well, which is just being pushed onto the servers, laptops, etc., and that sometimes causes a bigger problem. Okay, let me move on to the security orchestration, automation, and response. I mean, SOAR is something which uh, every company implement, but they may not get the budget and all. So, Amrish, let me come to you. I mean, what is your view on security orchestration, automation, and response, and how are various companies managing to get budgets for SOAR and then implementing it?
Yeah, so getting a budget for security itself is a challenge, and it differs from industry to industry. Some people will say that probably tech companies you'll get budget easily is not correct, and manufacturing also you have to fight. So irrespective of whatever industry you are, you have to fight for the budget, and to fight for the budget, you have to showcase risk and impact view. First thing. Second, having said that, see, as you said, threat landscape is changing, right? I know the incidents are increasing, and the impact of the incidents on the certain sectors are very high. Okay, if you look at your ground, just look at your critical applications. If they are down, look at probably if you've done the BIA, business impact assessment, probably organization will come to know if this business is down, what is the value at risk. Okay, and now you want to counter that and look at the attacker's viewpoint. They are looking for the one weakness, right? So things are changing, and attackers are using the latest tools and technologies and AI. So how you will handle traditional approach of handling manual effort, like suppose you get a blacklisted IP, you want to raise a request to the firewall team, they will blacklist it manually, and then it is done. It is not going to help. Okay, and the SOC. See, traditionally SOC. We look at everyone had a SOC, and they all got breached. Majority of them have been breached because uh, so somebody ultimately the somebody looking at the alert, he tried to find out what is happening, what is not happening, and things has already broken. And then he raised an alarm to somebody, and people started looking at what is happening and can I do something manual. So to win this game, automation is the only key. And the SOAR has been existing for a long time, and we all have been doing something or other. But we have SOAR has its own challenges, and probably to get a budget for the SOAR is challenge. Okay, because you have made so much of promise to establish a SOC, and now you go that and now I need a SOAR also to augment SOC further. People ask 10 questions. Okay, but if you're able to showcase the value, okay, is stock is given this, and then who will take action? I want to automate that process, and it is going to really protect. You are moving from detect to protect in near real time, not real time. Then probably the game is probably you're able to showcase, you're able to get some budget, show early success, show some value, and then ask for the more budget. And that is where we should use automation wherever possible in cybersecurity. That's why I was talking about AI is going to play and should help us on this journey. AI is helping hackers, the AI will help us also. And it's just a matter of time. And we are seeing a lot of investment by the OEMs in AI to augment, to improvise their products. And we are seeing a lot of investment in SIM field also. A lot of things are happening, and we will see uh, a lot of automation in this field. That is only way we'll able to win this game. Otherwise, we'll not be able to. That's why I think
I
that is.
completely, yeah, I completely agree with you, Barish. Okay, Sudhir, let me move to another topic, which is called phishing. I've seen in many companies, I mean, phishing campaigns being run, and I've also seen many employees again and again clicking on those attachments. And despite all the trainings and all, they sometimes are not learning that this is something which they should not be doing. Despite all the employee trainings and all, I've seen many a times that the same people, I mean, they are doing it again and again. So, since you have worked with other companies also, I mean, what is your view on these phishing campaigns? Are they really improving the security postures of these organizations? And if yes, to what extent?
Yeah, definitely, phishing campaigns are improving the security posture. Only
Mhm.
thing is we should not approach, phishing campaigns a traditional way, actually. So we have to think like a hacker. And how hacker today is impersonating? Hacker is impersonating Microsoft. Hacker is impersonating the real people. Hackers is impersonating the IT admin. So it is like we have to create a phishing campaign. So it's nearly identical to a real breach, actually. So I see the lot of campaigns that is happening, info stealer campaigns and these campaigns and all. So, so some people, if you go to procurement, we have to do a phishing campaign that is pertaining to the wire frauds. Actually, if you go to tech people, so like that, we can divide the teams actually. So what exactly they are using it, the day-to-day components. So we have to replicate those scenarios, and we do a phishing campaign, and that works. That's how actually they get knowledge. For our organization also, we have done some standard campaigns. Okay, nobody has clicked. I said 90, only two people or three people has clicked. My security team is very happy about it. I said I asked them to run a campaign on me, giving a Amazon gift coupon for Diwali. I said in 98% is clicked. Actually, so that's what, somebody is impersonating me, actually, so that they can believe it. Actually, this is coming from Sudhir, but they never looked into it, the basic fundamental thing, where that email ID is coming from, whether there's any lookalike domains has been used or not. Nobody has looked into it. Actually, only few people has looked into it.
And do they report also that this is a phishing campaign? I mean, uh, generally we keep 40% employees should be telling us that it was a phishing campaign and they were able to identify it. I mean, do
Yeah, so
employees think this is a phishing campaign?
you usually the employees are like the moment when they identify this is a phishing email, so usually they will just ignore it. Okay, so that
Mhm.
is a part of a training that we have to we have to incorporate, saying that when you when you get caught, or when you catch any of the phishing email, that is your duty to report it. It is happening in our daily life as well, right? We get a lot of scam calls actually. So when we pick up the scam calls, when we know this is the scam call, we never report it. So that's how, so majority of the phishing campaigns are successful. Even, if everybody start reporting it, the phishing campaigns automatically coming down, will come down actually. So that we need to educate. So that's the first thing we have to put that as a parameter in every campaign, saying that not only you detect the phishing email, it's like you have to report it as well.
Okay, Sachin, let me ask you on the red team part. I mean, since we were discussing on the pitching, I mean, the next level, once you have matured and all, is the red team exercise, and then the blue team and the purple team and all that. So, I mean, are you seeing improvements in security posture by these red team exercises being done by the organization? And once they are matured, I mean, they may do it on a regular basis. So, what is your viewpoint on the red team exercises, Sachin?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I guess definitely every organization should do that to understand where they are, and it is one of the core component of your cybersecurity framework implementation. So, in addition to, as I keep on saying, that we are your lot of traditional methods of VAPT, scanning, static analysis, dynamic analysis, um, multiple stuff, real time monitoring. But red teaming is definitely required because it gives you the perspective of what is your objective setting, what are your scope, what is your rules of your engagement, and definitely it also help you to identify and gather what are the open source intelligence, network scanning, social engineering stuff. So multiple components which will get added into this, and definitely it gives you the perspective, holistic perspective about your vulnerability management. And even nowadays there are a lot of good tools which are available. With the help of that, you can do the attack simulation, privilege escalations, and so which will help you to identify are there any loopholes into your identity access management, which is a core the layer of your ZTNA. So multiple benefits which you can leverage, and definitely it will help you uh, to identify what are the possible threats, exploitations probably, which you have in your environment, and then depending upon that, your remediation part definitely will come into the picture. So red versus blue versus purple, lot of now the terminologies are there. I will call it as a red teaming. Start from that, and definitely it will help you for your attacks to identify your the actual vulnerabilities, which is a offensive way of doing the things.
So, Sudhir, do you think only offensive exercise is good, or offensive and defensive technique would be better that way?
Yeah, definitely. So defensive approach is must needed. Without defensive, there is no offensive can work actually. So where the combination will give you more impact to the organization is, let's say, offensive technologies has to put exploitability concepts. Like say when we are doing a teaming actually, so what is a device that I can easily exploit? Okay, so then that will become P minus one incident, actually. So red teaming, the whole major goal of the red teaming is not just exploitation, or not just reach a crown jewels, not just reach a, exfiltrate the data. How fast we are doing it, how scalable we are doing it, and if I find exploitability in one asset, okay, one server, how many servers has the same exploitability? And many a time, we actually, if you go the VM as a strategy, vulnerability management or patching management as a strategy, we go beyond lot of patches. Okay, so those patches doesn't have exploitability or public exploits actually. So but red teaming will give you that picture which one is most critical to patch within hours. So there are some of the vulnerabilities, so they need to be patched within hours or within minutes actually. Otherwise, what will happen is the global scanners will run and will get caught to the nation state attackers. So that's where your major goal is. So the red teaming will definitely will help, and red teaming will build, bring that particular knowledge to defense. Technology is saying that okay, when we are evading, web application firewalls, actually, how we are evading, bypassing the web application firewalls is, bringing down the thresholds. Actually, only WAF can detect when the intrusion is happening above the threshold. What if a hacker is doing sending a script from the different packets from the different IP addresses within the threshold? Then that's a security risk. So that's what the red teaming brings the knowledge. So that's where the defense will increase. Actually, the offensive, methods always should feed the knowledge to
Def-
the defensive. players, so that defense will be increased eventually.
Okay,
I just,
Ambrish, let come. Sorry, Sudhir.
Raju, yeah, I just wanted to add. I guess, and that's why now the new terminology which has come is like a purple teaming. So as we see, red is something which is offensive, you are simulating the attacks, and the blue is something which is a defensive, you are defending.
Defense.
So combination of both, that what are the possibilities of attack which are getting inside, and do you have a capability to defend it? So the combination of both, which we call it as a hybrid model, are typically a purple teaming. If we use or organization use that, definitely it will help to optimize the security by leveraging both the teaming exercise.
So you can see Sudhir is already wearing a purple shirt, so he is taking sure that his shirt is visible and then he is taking care of the purple
We
team
are
Purple
exercise.
we
team.
are white
Yes.
guys.
Okay, Ambrish, let me come to you with a very interesting part of this discussion, which is on the risk scoring tools. I mean, there are many companies which have been, uh, I mean, told that your scores are low and then you will have to buy our security products, etc. I mean, I have seen those type of threats also being given by various risk scoring companies. So, risk scoring tools, first of all, whether we should be using the free tools or we should be only buying the paid tools.
So depending on the purpose, and if your aim is only just to do a risk scoring, if you have a free tool, why not? Okay.
Hmm.
But we need to be very clear why you want to do risk scoring. Are you doing for the calculating or risk quantification purpose so that you will be able to gauge the what is value at risk? And then that will help you to identify what is the critical asset and what I should protect first, and probably you are able to tell the story, entire story, which is mapping to risk, impact, and the cost, related cost to the management, get a right budget, or you are just trying to get a sense of where do you stand as an organization as compared to peers. Okay, so today, if you look at traditionally 5 6 years back, there are standalone tools they used to do risk scoring. Okay, but today, if you look at majority of the tools, if you look at attack surface management tool, a lot of tools are there. They anyway they are scanning your asset, right? Based on that, they are able to give some score. Since they are monitoring for many clients, they are able to give you the industry benchmarks also. Where do you stand as compared to somebody else? And they are using your data also, not actual data, but your score to tell them, yeah, how do you stand, other companies stand as compared to their industry peers. Okay. So depend upon your use case, what is the purpose, and fit for the purpose. We should select a right tool. We should use open source tool as far as possible. It's not that I'm talking about cost view. I'm talking about integration. Probably you can integrate with your existing tools. You can play with, etc. Uh, a lot of pros and cons is there, but depend upon your use case. Nothing else.
So you are saying that open source tool are good to use as long as you are just taking the risk scoring.
Yeah,
And when
they
it
don't
comes
want
to,
wasting money in 20, 30 lakhs or 40 lakhs to get a risk score and where the risk quantification we are going to do, right? So whereas you're fighting for the 1 crore budget and 40 lakhs you're just spending for getting a risk score. And that too, the tools will do a lot of assumptions. Okay.
Assumptions,
You
yes.
say assume this scenario that you can do yourself, right? So depend upon, see, a lot of companies, they are probably tightly regulated, etc., right? Probably they have stayed a certain stage of maturity. Okay, now they don't know what next to do. Okay, so they want to invest in risk scoring tool to somebody find out, okay, what shall I do next, because they have done everything else. Probably they know, right? So that's why I think a couple of high value tools are there. They promise that it is closer to the reality, but what is the reality we don't know, right? What is the cost of that? What is the cost of impact? What is the cost of that impact? Who knows? It's just that you need to say how much data it carries. If it is the customer data, the per data is it is 10 rupees or 1,000 rupees. Some assumption has to be made. And it again depend upon which country you are you regulated, not regulated, you have privacy law or not, you do not have. A lot of factors are there, right? So it depends on industry to industry, sector to sector, your organization, what is the ultimately what is the purpose you are looking for the tool.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ambrish. Sachin, you want to add something to this?
I slightly differ, but again, it's a debate and a discussion topic. See, if you really want to gain the actual value of what exactly your organization threat landscape and the dashboard, typically a management risk dashboard or a CISO dashboard, you really need to rely upon the best in breed tools, which comes with a continuous feed of your threats and vulnerabilities. So we call it as a deep fake or multiple stuff. So because those feeds are constantly getting fed into that particular source, a database, which is further getting used for your the discovery or simulation or probably you are testing. Now, unless until that tool is not capable enough to discover because of insufficient data available or the vulnerabilities which are not available in the database, it will not be able to identify. But again, it depends upon the nature of business, type of business, your requirements as well. If you are just like not dealing with any of a regulation, no, you know, say call a data privacy or the laws and acts which are applicable mandated for your organization, you are not even dealing with your the sensitivity or PI or PHI, whatever information or the financial information. Sometimes it's okay to start with the free tools which are available, but definitely at point in time where you reach the maturity, you need to have some tools in place which will give you the, I will not call it as 100%, but at least 98% you will get a clarity that where you stand, the way
Yeah.
you are going. And again,
Yes.
you should have the capability of taking that the impact to the organization. If you have that, then probably yes, it's good too.
And
I
then
saw one.
I'd add what Sajin said is quickly. See, a lot of brand protection tools, right, and attack surface, they are giving this data because they have the visibility. And what we said is, I think Sachin also said is, depend upon where are you in the maturity model or cybersecurity journey,
That's
correct?
right.
And your use case, yeah.
And I've seen one advantage with these risk scores is you come to know in a particular department or particular tribe and all what is causing that big spike in their risk score. And then once you address it, it comes down. But if in case it's a company which is doing this risk scoring and all, I've also seen that they are taking the average scores. And if you had a bad score 6 months back, it takes you about 6 months to clear up that, and then only your score improves. So the pros and cons are there of these tools, and then I mean, once you mature, you will realize all this, and you can improve on the risk posture overall. Sudhir, let me come back to you on one important topic, which is on the simulation part. I mean, we have discussed a lot on SOAR and all, and the response and remediation, I mean, these are two very important parts, and they can best be tested through simulations.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
what
So
companies
see, as you rightly said, to point out the risk scoring actually. So via simulation, you can address that problem actually. How we can address the problem, because we seen this in a real scenarios. So it is like how risk scoring companies will work. It is all the risk scoring companies will work on the predominantly OSN sources like Shodan sensors. There's the global scanners, they scan the entire organization, they pick up the data, and we call them as the data aggregators or OSN sources, where these people, the scoring vendors, they pick up that particular data from that particular OSN sources, and they bring back with the organization name or ASN number or something like that. Then they'll visualize it. So how simulation vendors are how simulation will be very effective is you hack yourself. And I'll give one best example like OpenSSH. There is an OpenSSH vulnerability has been it just came out from the dark web as a zero-day vulnerability in July 23rd in 2024. At that time, majority of the people has got hit because That is next to one version, everybody's using that version, and that version has become vulnerable. That's how the risk scoring people has started, pointing it out, that particular vulnerability, and they are lowering all the risks across the world, actually. So if you have a simulation environments or real-time simulations of environments, actually, you can identify your threats. So before a global scanners can scan itself. So you have to bring back identifying any threats, not within a weeks, not within a months, within hours, actually. You continuously monitor, you just create one simulated environment and continuously attack yourself. That's where we'll come to know what is the loopholes, integrate with the latest and adversarial, threat intels. You know first. If vulnerability is coming to the market, it's not the risk scoring or other ASM vendor should know first. It is that we should know first. So when we know first, when we take that remediation efforts faster, obviously our scores will go up. Nobody has any dirt to play on us. Otherwise, my management comes and says that, we are doing a good job, and they comes and says that why my score is low. So we can always avoid those things. And again, so when we use the most simulated real-time adversarial scenarios, actually, we also get to know what exactly happening in the industry, what is exactly happening today, right now, actually. So that's where, when we can safeguard our organization better than hackers. So we are the people, we are, the hackers are plenty, so they have plenty and they have plenty of resources, but we are limited and our budgets are limited. As Amrish sir said, it is very hard to get budgets nowadays, and our budgets are limited, our people are limited, and our knowledge is limited. How we do it? Only proactive, and simulation will really help, in this proactive nature.
So we have another 4 minutes left. There are a lot of questions which came up, and I've seen that Ambrish, Sachin, you have been answering those questions. But still, if there are some people whose questions are either unanswered or not answered completely, or they have some new question to be asked, they are most welcome to ask that. Nazia, can you help us in those questions?
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay, right. So regarding the integration of AI in cybersecurity, so I myself was quite reluctant before this seminar, but right now I think I'm feeling a little confident about it. I still have one question though. So using AI requires a lot of fine tuning, right? To integrate it and use it to its full efficiency. So the problem here is the fine tuning many times reveals many such use cases which should not be published in public. Right. So if we are using AI, I hope that we can have something of an offline model for a specific enterprise so that it can be the data can be at least stored within the company itself. Because if it leaks out the fine tuning part itself, then it can cause many major issues.
That's true. So when you are using a lot of AI components, mandatorily what you have to do is you have to run a task scanner. So if you don't use the task scanner, you should not know which model has been poisoned, which model is not poisoned. Today, you take a lot of, if you use AI, Microsoft Copilot or something like that, it is very easy to build any pages. It is very easy to build backend, so backend things, actually. So what happens is, when you do it faster and faster and faster, we'll be habituated to use more components. At the time when you don't run these components with the security scanners, what will happen is those eventually will go on the production. So then that's where, the hackers and the application layer will get into your application layer and they will exploit it. So it is better, it is always better that you use AI, but at the same time you validate with security scanners. For each every component you have to validate. And when you're using AI, threat modeling is a must, actually. So because when you have a threat modeling with a right architecture diagram, you'll come to know each module, which module is interacting with whom, whether it is interacting with any of the open source, or is there any APIs, what is the risk. You'll get complete details about it. So because when we also started using AI, the first thing what we have done is we implemented threat modeling.
So there's
Understood.
one more question which has come on the chat. How often should ASM audits be conducted, and what are the best practices? So I mean, if you can do it on continuous basis, that is the best way to go ahead. But if in case you are just starting with the maturity model, I mean, you can at least do it on a monthly basis. And once you mature, you can make it into a continuous model.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you for that. Just one last question. I have seen that in an organization, let's say if we have a vulnerability assessment plan and we are scanning it once a month and then we are verifying it within the same month, right? So usually it gives very less time for the patching team to implement all the patches because they are usually getting released mid-month. Right. I would like your suggestions on that. Like, how can we plan it accordingly on a regular basis? Because if we are planning it for like the first scan to be done in 1 month and the second scan, the verification should be coming in a subsequent month. So that also leaves us with a problem wherein the vulnerability count never gets down because we are always there with a
Yeah,
pending set of vulnerabilities. Right.
that's
So,
true. Actually, the
Once
best way
most
to
of are addressed, maybe at that time you can run the second scan. I think that is what we were doing in our previous organization. I mean, when we have got the remediation done for most of those, we used to run the second scan.
Yeah. So another way is so this is the same issue even we had actually. We have thousands of vulnerabilities in the organization. A slight change in the approach is like we went to the developers and we asked them, we given the SaaS license or DaaS licenses actually, and we asked them to scan themselves before they are releasing it, these applications actually. So what they are doing is we make sure that all the vulnerabilities that is coming in their development life cycle actually they have to close it before they move forward. So what happens is if they are responsible for the vulnerabilities they are creating actually, so eventually what happened is our vulnerabilities count is significantly reduced. And whenever we identify a vulnerability and we are creating a video libraries, so how to exploit this and what is a vulnerability, and we are sharing with entire developer team, so that mandatorily they have to watch these videos when they are developing it and we are deploying it, when they are making it live at production or pre-production anywhere, so they have to watch these videos and they have to make sure that these vulnerabilities doesn't come in our regular scans.
Was a very interesting discussion. Thank you, Ambrish, Sachin, and Sudhir. Over to you,
Yes,
Nazi.
it was a, I think, very interesting session. That's why we exceeded the time. So thank you all the speakers for joining us and giving your time for this panel discussion. Thank you, Rajiv sir, for moderating this session. And thank you everyone in the attendees for joining us today.